Call the meeting to order. It is 7:07 p.m. First is our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just to note that we are having issues with Zoom and the microphone, so we are recording the meeting tonight via cell phone, but we will not have video. Just that for the record. Roll call.
Okay, with that in mind, I will talk as loud as I can. Ms. Bullenbacher, I know, is online, so. Mr. Chandler?
Here.
Ms. Compitello?
Here.
Mr. Hof?
Here.
Mr. Oliverio?
Here.
Ms. McCalnick?
Here.
Mr. Rodilla?
Here.
Mayor Perry?
Here.
Solicitor Corbel?
Here.
Engineer Engineer Keenan? Here. Thank you. And Minsterman is here. And myself. Thank you.
We have a quorum. Okay, the consent agenda, the meeting minutes from April 25th, 2024, and also the bill list from May 9th. We're on the OneDrive. And we're looking for a motion to approve the May 9th, 2024 consent agenda pending bill list approved by Borough President, Manager, and Treasurer.
So moved.
Ms. Polkownik,
Second.
Ms. Compitello, any questions or discussions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Public comments on agenda items. At this time, citizens may address the Grafton Borough Council on any issue appearing on today's agenda. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Grafton will be permitted to address the council. Comments on non-agenda items will be taken at the end of tonight's meeting. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Council has the option to respond or not at the end of the address. Please state your name and physical address for the record. So, do we have anybody signed in? No, not on the paper, okay.
You want to? Cheryl wants.
Charlene?
Charlene.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, none of the mics are going to work, so just, yeah.
Oh, come up to.
Come up.
closer to-
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
closer.
Come close to us.
Yeah, if you could come up to this, we need to record you.
Oh,
We're on the phone, thank you.
okay. Charlene Cranky, 800 Clearview Avenue. A couple of my neighbors asked me to come. They were asking questions about Middle Street, the paving. They want to know why you're paving it. It doesn't need paved except for the pothole and around a drain. So they want to know why borough money is being spent on the whole street.
Middle Street.
And they question why, also, instead of doing the whole street, why aren't you taking care of Clearview?
Okay. Thank you. You can address that during the engineer's report. Yeah. Anybody else? All right. President's report. Nothing to report tonight. Mayor's report.
Nothing for me either.
All right, thank you. Solicitor's report.
I'm only reporting that we will hold an executive session following the meeting to discuss collective bargaining matters. That's the end of my report.
Great.
Can we hand that phone down to Larry?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Pass.
Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for Charisma.
Engineer's report. Mr. Keenan.
All right, good evening, everybody. First item on the engineer's report is the Broadhead project. This project is currently at the tail end of putting all the final documents together. Last meeting I presented some alternates that we wanted to add to the bid specs, and since then they've been forwarded off to the engineering consultant, and right now we're wrapping up final bid specs, and we intend on going out to bid as soon as we can, hopefully in the next week or few weeks or so. Anything there? Okay. Next is our stairs project. Tomorrow we are having I will be joining the engineering consultant with the awarded contractor on site to do a pre-construction meeting at all the locations. Right now, we are intending on having Walnut to Crafton be the first set of stairs to be worked on. And I'd also like to mention that there is a press release to be going out regarding this project. Next is the road paving project. This has been advertised and went out to bid. We're looking forward to opening bids on May 30th with a council award date of June 13th. As far as the concern with Middle Street goes, when I performed the surveying of the streets of Crafton, Middle Street was selected as one of the ones with the worst grades, and that's why it was selected to be chosen for paving.
What's
Yeah.
wrong with it?
There's several instances, several locations of cracking and just evidence that it needs to be repaired. But I can go into the software and provide exact reasons why if needed. So,
And we use software now, which sometimes it's not visible, like you can't see it just by looking. It's
Mhm.
things that are underneath, how long it's been paved before, the structural items around that street. So it's not always just walking the street saying it looks.
I have one question. Can I ask a question?
Not really, like, we want to keep with the
Okay.
protocols, yeah, wait till the end.
Can you perhaps just explain a little bit more the system that we are using? We're using robotics. Explain how that works a little bit
Yeah.
and when the
Yeah.
last analysis was done?
It's out.
Vital.
Vitalytics.
sure. So the software that we are using is called Vitalytics. It is a road conditions assessment software that uses a cell phone hardware mounted to the windshield like any other situation where you would mount the phone to your vehicle. And as you drive around the streets, it surveys the roads in front of you, and it uploads that information back to its central hub, and it lets us know, it grades every street that is surveyed based on a series of different defects that asphalt roads produce. And and from that list, we sorted it by the worst grades, and from there we produced our list to be paid for this year's paving program. And Middle Street happened to be one of them. Is there anything else? Okay. Moving on to the next item is the pool bathhouse. Just a reminder that the ribbon cutting ceremony is Thursday, May 23rd at 5:30 p.m. Some of the individuals in attendance will be Dan Deasy and Wayne Fontana. All residents are welcome, and there will be tours held for anyone that wishes to go on one. Also with this, there is another press release that will be going out for this project. Some other current updates recently, the paving for the ADA spaces has been completed there. I was out inspecting the pavement, and everything looks like it came to plan, so it looks good. Moving on to the PA water main replacement schedule. Up to this point, Sterrett, Crafton, and Parkview have all had their water main work completed. Right now, Union Avenue is the last street that is being serviced. It's important to note that only the water main work has been done. The final restoration to the streets will take place later this summer. That's what I have to say about that. Moving on to the C20 design work. This is a source reduction project that we are required to do to meet the consent order. As you've been presented over time, there have been certain dates that we had to meet and make certain submissions on. The last one was at the end of March, where we had to submit our letter of interest with explaining our small projects, our large projects. And just recently, we had received a response from Alcosan regarding their acceptance, and it was displayed that they accepted our large projects, our large sewer separation projects, but they had denied our green infrastructure projects. And what does this mean as a whole? It doesn't really, all it means is that our projects will keep on going, but for the green infrastructure projects, we will have to wait till next cycle, which will be next year. And if everyone's wondering why it got denied, like I said, we just got these responses, and we are in the middle of setting up a meeting with Tim at Alcosan to figure out just why it got denied. any had any immediate questions on that.
There was an advance meeting also held with Alcosan about the ideas that were being developed, and so they knew what we were considering, and they've been supportive at that point.
Correct.
We may not know why they denied it, but I think that's, we're putting into the record that there was advanced communication with them.
Yes,
To try to
yeah.
run these ideas by them, and they were supportive.
correct, yes. Up until our March deadline, we have had meetings with Alcosan and Tim directly, and we have explained these projects to him. And he has shown nothing but support. He's, to my knowledge, has never addressed anything that was immediate concern or any particular reason as to why they would not get accepted. So we're all kind of surprised by this in a way.
Yeah, and to note, additionally, this happened for Broadhead too, correct, Rick?
Yes.
Yeah, so this happened for Broadhead as well. We had to go back after a year, and we got accepted the second year, but we did not get accepted the first year. So there's we have no knowledge yet, but
Correct.
we hope to find more out.
Correct.
Like Broadhead, there were specific items they wanted to see, enhanced calculations on certain performance elements to the project. So I suspect that's what it is here. And during the process when they're reviewing the LOIs, they don't reach out, they don't ask questions, there's no communications, because they don't want additional information to be seen unfair, so they make no communications. If they can't figure it out, they don't do the calculations, they simply ask you to do it and ask you to resubmit. So I don't expect any issues at all with it. It's just a matter of, whatever additional proof or comfort that they need for the project's performance, we'll give them and resubmit in the next cycle, which ironically works out from a construction standpoint. We were going to phase the construction anyway, so the work that we're doing that was approved, the separation projects, which is the lion's share of the work, will be done in 2025. And then by the time the next cycle comes through, the green infrastructural projects are approved, they'll be ready to start construction in January to June of 26. June of 26 is the deadline for consent order. So it's still, everything still aligns, even with them not approving the submittal of the application for GSIs.
All right. Thanks, Rick. Okay, moving on to the next item is the Linden and Steuben Signal Light Improvements Project. Just wanted to make a note that this has gone out to bid, and we're looking forward to opening bids on June 4th with a council award date of June 13th. Just a reminder, this is a project that's being entirely funded with a grant. And the last item on the engineer's report is the EV charging. Again, this is grant funded backed, and we are following the Duquesne Light Electrify Allegheny program, which is a 3-step process. We've had since met with Duquesne Light at the potential locations for EV charging, and we've had a fleet assessment done, which yielded that the code and the police vehicles be swapped out first, as they've shown to show the most return on investment over the course of time. But we are still waiting on a final report from Duquesne Light showing what they approve of as far as locations go.
And we just got the fleet assessment like an hour before the meeting tonight, like 2 hours before the meeting, so we're not gonna present it tonight.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that said, that concludes the engineer's report.
Great. All right, managers.
All right, can I get the recording device? Okay. All right, thank you. The first thing on my portion of the agenda is the 2023 volunteer service tax credits for volunteer fire department members. So all volunteer fire department members are able to get certain taxes back, property taxes and earned income taxes, and they get refunds from Jordan Tax. So with that, I'd like a motion to approve the 2023 volunteer service tax credits in the amount of $2,264.82. as presented and certified by Jordan Tax Service Incorporated.
Second?
Mr. Rodilla, second. Ms. Compitello. Discussion? So what this is, to be clear, especially for the public, is that anybody that's a volunteer fire department that lives in Crafton gets a 20% property tax discount and $150 max income tax rebate. So that's what these credits are for them, for their volunteer service, obviously, for us. Great. Any other discussion or questions? Right, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Okay, the waste collection RFP, I just got the legal review back today, so I'll be digging into that, and we hope to get that out. Our committees might review it next week, but we hope to get it out by next week. We also applied for community project funding through Chris DeLuzio's office for the Crafton Boulevard streetscaping. We got several good letters of support. There was only a 4-day window, I think, when this was open, but we were able to get that application in. And then the last, what's that?
They're only accepting 15. Last year we applied and we did not make one of those 15, and this is for improvements in front of the Crafton Elementary School. So this year we're hoping to get it, but it was literally a 4-day window to apply for.
Yes. All right, the last thing on my portion of the agenda, the Planning Commission, we'd like to accept Matt Griner's resignation from the Planning Commission. He made this verbally at the last Planning Commission meeting, so with that, I'd like a motion to accept Matt Griner's resignation from the Planning Commission.
So moved.
Mr. Rodillo,
Second.
Ms. Polkownik, any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
And with that, that ends my report.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
On one of these items, the community project funding through Representative DeLuzio's office.
Yes. Mhm.
Can you tell us what the amount was?
Oh,
and what the expected timeline is?
Yes. I can't tell you what the expected timeline because I don't know what it is. But the total project amount was 1.54 million, I think, and the ask was 1.38 million. And
Was that a number that we set? Is it the 1.38? Was there a?
It was the percentage you're allowed to do for that. So when you go through this program, they're based on congressional authorizations, and that congressional authorization allows for it's a 20% match. So that was the 20% match.
Any other questions?
And the letters of support for that, we did apply for that previously.
Yep.
Didn't get the funding last year, but we had letters of support last year. We got letters of support again this year.
We had much more. We had many more letters. We got everybody on. We got 3 county council members. We got Dan Deasy and Wayne Fontana. We got Sarah Emirato. We got the school. We also got Teresa Kale Smith, and Bike Pittsburgh. And I think that was it. But there's a lot more than we got last time.
I think that's worth noting for the community too. This is something we've been working towards for some time and have been collaborating with and have had support from the city of Pittsburgh, which that area of Crafton Boulevard impacts the city of Pittsburgh too, and also the school. They're a partner in this and have been supportive and have been consulted on it.
Any other questions, Mr. Price? All right, thank you. Standing committee reports, Finance Administration, Sustainability, Ms. Perry.
We will be meeting as usual next week between the first, and we'll have an update at our next meeting.
Great, thank you. Infrastructure and Land Use, Ms. Comptello.
We have an update about the zoning. Our zoning update is in its final stages. We've gotten the draft from our consultant. Borough manager and borough staff have been looking through it and have gotten comments to them. And then the zoning steering committee met yesterday and had a review session. And we'll have a period of time to share their comments as well. And we are on track to have all of those back to the consultant this month and integrate it into an updated draft. Our schedule is our consultant has until the end of June to finish this document. We then have borough responsibilities after that to get it through public review and to get it through council adoption. But the draft should be finished up in June, and it should be going to public review in the summer. And then the other update is the Safe Streets for All federal grant. This is a funding source, a federal funding source that provides funding for communities to do safe streets action plans. And then once you have an action plan, it also provides funding for implementation of projects to make streets, and this includes pedestrian and bike infrastructure, as well as vehicular infrastructure. This funding source, if we do the first step of the action plan, can also provide funding to do the implementation of projects to improve our street safety. We have been talking about this funding source. It has 3 cycles for applications this year. The first one we missed. The second one is upcoming May 16th. We're preparing an application. And then the third round would be later in the summer. If we decide not to go for May 16th, we could apply later this year, but then we would not be considered until next year's round of funding. So we've been preparing an application for May 16th. I did speak with the borough manager last week. We were looking at the minimum amount that is required, which was probably something that we would have liked to have flagged earlier.
Yeah.
There is a $100,000 minimum request. We could make that, but we think we'd be in a stronger position if we partnered with some other communities. So he's done some outreach to other communities, and we had a conversation about what we would like to best include to meet that. And I want to let you give some updates because you were doing some further.
Yeah, yep. I met with Thornburg. I went to Thornburg's council meeting on Monday. They were supportive, but it does look like we probably need till August now to apply, just with their interest. I'm reaching out to Roslyn Farms. Their council meeting's on Monday next week. And I've also talked to Carnegie and Ingram, and both are interested. And so that's a good, 5 municipalities that are, that are good. I don't know what the word I'm thinking of, but so that we're going to work with them all together. And see if we can all apply for one larger application, and thus we can have more demonstration projects and whatnot as part of it, and a better planning process.
Yeah, so the way that it works, we could be submitting for funding to do an action plan. We didn't necessarily need the minimum $100,000 to do an action plan for solely Crafton. The funding also allows you to do demonstration activities, which could be educational outreach, could be it could also be pop-up. It could be demonstration activities, which are like, pop-up bike lanes, or testing different road configurations with temporary installations. There's a long list of things that qualify, that are eligible, that we could have added to meet that minimum, but there's also a match requirement. So we would have to be paying the 20% of the project cost, and we figure we would be in a better position. It would be a more competitive application with a $100,000 minimum plan cost to do it as a multi-municipal plan. And that would also allow us to split the 20% match, so we wouldn't have to put in so much of our own funds. So, and I know we had been hoping to make that May 16th date, but there are reasons to put in more effort to get a stronger application together for August. And one of the things we had as our most urgent item was that we wanted to be able to continue the streetscaping and the street improvements in front of the school. So having the funding opportunity that opened just in the past few weeks and now has been submitted through Representative DeLucio's office gives us we already have a funding request out for that specific project. So hopefully that comes to fruition. Are there any questions? That's it for my agenda. Any questions from council on that application? All right,
Very
thank
good.
you.
Thank you. All right, planning commission, Mr. Padilla.
So I was out for the last meeting, I was on vacation. Do you want to give an update?
Yeah, we actually didn't have a quorum, so we only had 2 members there. So we talked briefly about the zoning and where it's at, and we'll reconvene next month at a regular time.
This month, right?
Sorry, this month. at a
Is it
regular
later
time.
this month?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and when is that meeting?
It's the 4th Tuesday.
Okay, so it's the, is it Labor, or after Memorial Day, the 28th?
Yes,
Okay. And what time do those meet?
6:30.
6:30. Okay, so May 28th at 6:30, the next planning commission. Okay. Communication recreation, Ms. Bolenbacher.
I'm gonna pass this to be closer to the other phone.
They can talk to each
Okay,
other.
can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so we had our Derby senior dinner this past Saturday. We had 16 guests. I want to thank everybody who came. Everybody wore their hats and their suits. Everything looked great. Thank you to Hanlon's for the catering. And I also wanted to say a special thank you to Robert Muller. He donated a little glider, like a mini glider planter. It was really cute, so I wanted to thank him for that. Our upcoming senior dinners are going to be August 3rd and November 2nd. The start time is going to get pushed back to 5 o'clock to allow people more time to get to the dinners. Our next actual event, though, is the music festival. That'll be Saturday, June 1st. We have our lineup set. We're going to start off with a group called Shady Mugs. They are a Southern classic rock band. They're going to be on stage from 11:30 to 1. From 1 to 2, while they do some change-ups, we're going to have a science exhibit. From 2 to 3, we're going to have Gary Prisby. He does rock and blues as well as 90s music. From 3 to 4, we have the duo, the Honey Earners. They do music from the 60s all the way through now. From 5 to 6, we have Jess Size, and she's an acoustic. Aside from all that, we'll also have a inflatable slide. There'll be some spin art, as well as some good and food and drinks. Our Independence Day celebration will be Thursday, July 4th. We are still looking for nonprofits who would like to host a booth for that day. Also, back really quickly to the food festival, we're still accepting applications for any vendors or food trucks who would like to participate. Fall Fest will be Saturday, September 28th. Again, details forthcoming. And also, we're still looking for vendors and food trucks for that as well. We have our Haunted Craftin' coming up October 19th through the 31st with our Trunk or Treat kickoff on the 19th in the park. Our Celebration of Lights is set for Saturday, December 7th. Our Christmas House Tour is set for Sunday, December 15th. And as always, we're looking for volunteers for every event. So anybody who would like to volunteer, be a vendor, be a food truck, nonprofit, any of you can go to the borough website for more information, and it'll show you how to sign up. Next up, I wanted to talk really quickly. Our next, Our next newsletter will be coming out in August, but we will be asking for articles sooner since we're going with a new format and a new publisher. So you will probably be getting those emails pretty soon. And our last piece of information is our logo update. We have 4 different logos that Jim is going to show you guys, and we would like to narrow it down to 3. Once we pick the 3 that we like best of the 4 options, citizen for public feedback, and then from there we can decide which is going to be our new logo. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to see the logos because Zoom isn't working, but I trust the rest of you to do a great job. So Jim, take it away.
That's because Mike was not here. We had all these technical difficulties. You did something.
Better late
right?
than never, right?
You did
Okay.
something and sabotaged us.
All right, we have 5 options to see. That's number 1, 2, 3, and then 2 versions of this one. So we really have 4 and 2, and this one is in 2 colors. So I guess the best way would be for just to have a vote on each one, maybe?
Or do we want to have a little discussion? Maybe, does anybody have any questions or comments or about the process, about the logos or anything?
And keep in mind, a couple things, the taglines can change, the taglines are just what they started with. They are supposed to represent that logo, but they can be changed, we have a whole list of taglines that they created. And there will be additional things, once we choose one, they'll create different versions of it. We'll have ones that will be smaller and ones that are larger and different versions of it, just to give you an idea. A couple things that have been mentioned to us is owning a color is a good thing, and having it be able to be very small is a good thing. To be able to have it on have a logo where you can put it on like a pen or something and still understand what it is. Those are good for promotional stuff.
And I think each one that they described, like this one here is the houses, which I can't, what was the house design called? What was that one?
Yeah, there's a name for that type of
Kirsten?
middle.
The mansard roof?
Yeah,
Is it
mansard roof.
The mansard?
Yes. So a lot of the Crafton houses are that way, and the reason they were that way is because people were hiding their attics because they were taxed on that third floor. So they made it part of the roof so that they would not have to get taxed on it many years ago. So that's part, you can see those throughout Crafton, and that is actually a street sign. Our street signs with the little spire.
Yeah, that's on top.
like spike
And one
better.
of the things about those street signs is that the Historical Society, when it was still extant, raised funds, and also Representative Deasy contributed. So they were done, all of those, the street signs that we have now were put in thanks to one of our volunteer organizations.
That's great.
And the spire is on top of a lot of the Victorian houses. So it can be a street sign, but also a spire on the Victorian houses.
And this one is based on the recesses that are on the front of the building, actually. So this is a design that comes from the front of the building. I know in the past we've used the building as a logo, but it is a fairly common municipal building style. So we were thinking about how can we still capture some of it without just using the building itself. And so that's what this one is based on. And this one was actually created a few years ago. And then this one is based on a path, the walking paths and the idea. So that's why he continued the design. It also has a mansard roof there. And then the leaves and the nature. So. And then the last one is a combination of two, actually. The Victorian style and that C there, we combined two styles that bring this one together. We liked them, and now we have this in two colors, so those are two different options. Growing Forward was the tag for the C, and then Old World Charm Modern Living was the tag for the B.
I think we eliminated the last one because of the, it's the same colors as Carlington.
Oh, okay, I didn't.
Did we mention, I thought we had mentioned that at one of the meetings.
I don't know if everyone agreed on it. I know that was what I didn't like about it.
Oh,
I know
okay.
people tend to associate that with the school, which is also, part of this community, but it's not just Crafton Borough. The school represents more communities, and having too much similarity can be confusing. So that was one of my comments, but I don't know if everyone agreed with that. I don't know if we all agreed to remove it, or if that was just one comment.
I was thinking it might actually be easier to eliminate one or than to pick one. And because we're putting three out to the community for them to decide, so, or provide feedback on. So if you want to just let us know what the one you would like to remove is, that might be the best way to deal with this.
We need to remove two, right? Because the
What's that?
goal is to have 3 preferred
Yeah,
that then
but
go to the community.
But I'm just calling this really the same thing in different, we can,
Okay.
if we need to break these out, then you can choose to. Yeah.
So they are, 1 is the street sign, 2 is the borough building, 3 is the path, and 4 is the
This one.
Victorian flow. So we would just need your number. one number from each council person. And any more discussion?
I agree.
I vote 3 Al personally, but. Okay.
But any more discussion?
Probably.
So Vince, you're number 3,
Number 3.
I agree.
Pam is 3.
Okay.
Any chance I can get like a text of these so I can take a look?
And wait,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, are we
I'll
voting which
text
one
them.
we're
Thanks.
removing?
Yes.
Oh,
Only one, yeah. And the color, the last one, 4 and 5 are really 4.
I would vote 3 Al.
Is 3. Mike, Kirsten, and then Aaron.
I will vote 4 out, but it might take just a minute for me to locate the photos and send them to Erin, and then a minute for her to look at them, so.
3. Was 3.
If we want to continue and then I can just give that, I can just shoot Jim my answers or what have you, that's okay.
Does that?
Aaron,
I don't
if
want to hold up the
you're-
meeting
Yes,
too
it's
long.
Majority,
decided.
yeah, majority is 3.
Right, so it's already decided, the
Yeah.
orange one is
Okay,
out.
so Erin, the one that, I just texted you the 4 if you have a chance to see them, but the one that had the most, no votes was the one that, it was the idea of having a Crafton written in orange, and then the line on the T kind of continued as a path, so it was the
I see
more
it.
modern look. with
Yeah,
the orange
I
and the
see
green.
it. Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, so now that we're left with the 2 different colors of this one, do we want to select which color? And just go around, Mike, which color do you prefer? Blue. Pam?
Sure, blue.
Holden?
Blue.
Blue.
Okay, that ends that conversation.
We didn't.
All right,
And
well.
Aaron-
I vote for green, so. Favorite color, so.
For Erin's sake, we were looking at the last option that was the CB and the little swirls in the C. And we had, the option of having it be the golden blue or the golden green.
Honestly, I like the golden green. I know people were concerned about the Carlington Association. But given that we are an Arbor, a tree community, I kind of like the green as being part of the logo. So I like the green better than the blue.
Anybody want to change their vote, or are we sticking with?
So we had 4 blue,
What
1
would,
green.
what would,
Two
no,
green.
2
Two
green.
green now.
Who's the other green?
Aaron.
Aaron and
Oh, Aaron
Vince.
Green, okay. Well, we already have 4.
Did you vote?
No,
No.
I always vote last.
I know, so what are
if
your thoughts?
necessary.
So what's your vote?
I mean, I like both, so that's not a good, it could be blue and gold for pick colors, but, right, Larry? And, but the Carlington thing is, that kind of stuck with me, just because it is the same color.
But they're green and yellow, not green and gold. So I do see a difference
Is
on
it
that one.
gold or is it like beigey
Taupe. It's like
eggshell?
taupe, yeah.
Yeah, it's not really gold. It's
I wonder if we could maybe just tweak the shade of the green a little bit. That's the kind of thing that confuses other people too. So I just want our logo to be clear that it's our logo and not the school logo.
Yeah.
But the tagline on the blue one
You like that?
does,
Well, yeah.
I like that tagline
But
better.
that's-
But also that tagline literally says grow in it. And I think Aaron and Vince made a good point about the green representing trees and growth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. I can go back to him and see if we can get a different green for that one.
I would be more inclined to have the green if it was a different green. I would say
Okay.
it maybe.
I will see if he can change that, and then we'll put that out. Does that work?
You did
Or is
it.
that-
I did it, guys.
you
Change.
did it. You did it. You and Aaron
So-
did it.
Are you guys wanting like a brighter green, a darker green? Give them some clues.
I was thinking a
different
little bit
green.
more subdued green, like an earthier green, maybe?
That probably would be a little more distinct,
Yeah.
yeah.
I still
Earthy
prefer the blue,
green.
but
Earthy green, what does that mean?
Evergreen.
A little bit
some
darker,
green
richer.
trees.
yeah, darker. I would say darker.
All right.
I would
All
say
right.
brighter.
So I think in the old days, we would call that forest green.
Forest
There you
green,
go.
okay.
There you go.
That's an
All right,
earthy
those are the
word.
ones we're
Try to
working
make
on.
it easier on these poor guys.
There is a color out there called Aaron Green, I'm just saying.
All right.
I mean, maybe ask them to look at the school's colors and try to be distinct, because
Yeah.
I think their colors are more forest green, so we probably want to go a little more muted or a little brighter.
Yeah, I can ask them that.
Yeah, just to keep it different. So basically,
Send it back with 3 different shades of green for you guys to vote on.
Yeah, there you go. Give us 3 different shades of green.
I also do still like the blue, I thought that was a good point, yeah.
Let's just eliminate that one
To
completely.
be clear,
Get
I
rid
agree.
of
I
this
like the
green
blue
shade.
better, but it depends on the green.
so we have,
I like certain shades.
the next steps in the process would be to put this out to the public to get comments on the 3.
Different page.
So then we'll be able to look through all the comments and then make a final decision soon, because we want to do a lot of the branding. We really need it for letterhead, for logos on shirts, our trucks. Imagine that it's going to go through everything we have, and it's been a long time in coming. So we'll have a deadline for public comment, and we encourage the public to provide their comments and thoughts on it electronically. Okay. Ms. Bolenbacher, anything else?
That is it, thank you.
All right, great. Commission vacancy, Ms. Polkownik.
Sure. All right. Okay, so I've got a couple here to get through, so I'll talk quick. First up, for Civil Service Commission, we've had a slight change. Someone resigned their seat. So Susan O'Connell, who was recently appointed, is going to be shifting from an alternative position to a full-time voting member. So I'd like to make a motion to appoint Susan O'Connell to the Civil Service Commission for a term that will expire on July 1st of 2028. Again, this is for a full voting.
Can you explain, because who resigned and how many people, so for the public?
Okay. Emily Babiak, I think I'm saying that correctly. She was the chairperson on Civil Service Commission. She resigned her seat. At the time, Civil Service had been completely full, and so it was just almost a little domino effect of reappointing and shuffling around. So conversations were had with all the folks that had recently applied for the seats that were vacant, and all were still very interested. So the Vacancy Commission just moved forward with those recommendations. So Susan was appointed to be on the alternate seat. I keep saying alternative like it's a band. Alternate seat. Had a conversation with her. She was very interested and was happy to fill one of these seats, the seat that was vacated by Emily leaving. So that is the first of 3. Do you want to make the motion again, or is that?
No, the motion is to appoint Susan
Yep.
to the seat that expires on July 1st of 2028.
Second.
So, who made the motion?
Didn't she?
Pam?
Yes, I guess, yeah. Pam, second, Mr. Radilla, or I'm sorry, Ms. Polkownik, then Mr. Radilla. Any discussion or questions?
I have just a process question. So we had earlier today, we had a motion to accept a resignation from the Planning Commission. But we don't have.
We only did that because he did not provide it in writing.
Oh, okay.
Right, so when most people either email or write us, so when they provide it in writing, we don't have to accept it, but we're accepting that so that we
Okay.
have it in writing now.
Thanks, I was just wondering about the process
Another
difference.
question I asked it earlier this week. So,
Okay.
okay.
Any other discussion? Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, next up is to filling a now alternate seat. So if someone would like to make a motion to appoint Mercedes McCormick Carl as an alternate to the Civil Service Commission for a term that will expire on February 1st, 2029.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Comptello, Mr. Radilla, any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Okay, and the last appointment I'd like to have a motion made on, this will fill out and complete our Civil Service Commission, is to appoint Mary Guild as an alternate to the Civil Service Commission for a term that will expire on May 20th, 2026.
Now, for this one, again, we did not have an opening, so there was another resignation, correct?
This was a shuffling around.
This was
Oh,
a
yes, this was
resignation?
another resignation,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Cody Sheets.
Cody
Cody
Sheets.
Sheets.
Yeah.
Another resignation, yes.
Okay. Provided in writing.
Provided via email and writing,
So
correct.
this is to replace Cody as the alternate.
Yes.
Cody's position as alternate.
So moved.
Right, Ms. Compitello?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Hof? Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Okay. Last one here is I'd like a motion to be made to appoint Corey Roma as an alternate to the zoning hearing board for a term that will expire on December 21st, 2025.
So moved.
Ms. Compitello?
Second.
Mr. Rick? Oh, Ms. Bolenbacher.
Yeah,
Okay.
there.
Ms. Bolenbacher? Okay. Any questions? We do have Mr. Roma with us today.
Yep.
He's right there
Thank you,
waving.
Corey.
They can't see on video.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Congratulations, Corey.
Thank you.
So just a reminder to everyone, we always have our current open positions on our website, so craftonborough.com/commissions. We will have some later on starting in the summer, July 1st, Civil Service will have a seat. So then some more throughout the summer months. We will have planning, which will sends to be a hot ticket. So that again will go out. There was the oops a while back with that. Now it will be real. So there was that. So just keep checking that. And again, I appreciate everyone's interest when those do get blasted on Savvy Citizen. It is nice to see all of the interest in filling those seats. So I appreciate everyone for applying. And that's it.
Before we move on, so just to be clear, we have no current open seats.
One.
One current
Planning.
open seat.
Planning.
Oh, yeah, that's right, planning,
Yeah.
this just happened today.
Just,
Okay.
yes.
Got it. Thank you, that's all.
So great job, Ms. Polkownik. There's lots of positions we filled. These are important. This gets volunteers into the community and working, and without them on these committees, we can't do the good work we always are trying to do. So thank you for your
Yep.
efforts. And I know it is a lot because it's not only just looking at an application. It's an interview process, a discussion, getting the committee chair, 3 or 4 people trying to get on a Zoom call or in person. And I know it's a lot to organize. So.
Just appreciate the interest. So it's nice to see people want to be involved. So
And to that point, that was gonna be my point, was when we started this vacancy committee, how many years ago now? I was personally on it for a year or whatever. It was, we had 20-some open seats, and I
27 openings.
honestly never thought I'd see the day that they were all filled, so.
24 months, we filled them all.
Yeah, so congratulations, because that was a huge undertaking, and you lost the call.
the one thing Aaron didn't hear.
Yeah, because was it originally Aaron and I think we were
No,
originally, or,
it was, oh God, I can't remember now who was on it with us, but. No.
It was you and Aaron.
I think it was Aaron and I
I'm
I'm pretty sure
original, yeah.
Colin remembers.
So, but yes, congratulations, because that is a huge undertaking. And we only have one more.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Then we'll have some more in the middle of the year.
now?
Yes.
Yes,
can
we
you hear
can.
us?
I can, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost you guys for a minute.
That's okay. All right, Aaron. I was wrapping up vacancy. So
All right, Council COG, Council of Government, Ms. Bolenbacher.
Okay, so our next meeting is this coming Thursday, May the 16th at 6:30 at North Fayette.
Very good.
That's it.
Thank you. Community announcements. Our next council meeting's in 2 weeks, Thursday, May 23rd at 7 p.m. with audio and video. Our photo contest,
Live and technical.
yes, is, this was in the newsletter, so we're having a photo contest. This is getting photos of our community, submitting them. There's different categories for it. Check the website. They're due on July 1st. and it can be photo printed into the Borough building, plus on the newsletter, so it's really great and some nice prizes for that. Pool passes are now available. The pool's going to be open very soon. The pool will open on the 25th. Remember, the ribbon cutting, which is also on here, is the 23rd. So ribbon cutting's at 5:30. That'll give you the opportunity to go into the locker rooms, the bathrooms, and everything. So come to that, because on the 25th you really can't get a good tour because they're going to be, gender lockdown. So you come on the 23rd to get a good look at everything inside the concession stands, everything.
No, the concession stand was not.
Was not done,
Okay.
but behind all of that area. It looks really great. And, but pool passes are available, so be sure to buy those. And our first annual music festival, Ms. Bolenbacher talked about that. One question I had, that is not going to be, that is a dry event. There is no alcohol, correct, for that event?
For which one?
For the music festival.
We don't know yet.
Oh, okay. So we may have alcohol at the music
Yep,
festival.
yep. We don't currently have it lined up, but
Okay.
that might be changing.
All right. Fall Fest is the first one we did with alcohol, so that was hugely successful. All right. Any other questions or items to bring up?
Do you just want to add, since you just mentioned that there is not yet a vendor
Oh.
that will sell alcohol for that event, but
Yeah.
the rec board did put out another notice just today seeking anyone who would like to be a vendor or knows of vendors who might be interested.
Okay,
So they're
okay.
still looking.
Yep.
I just put that out again today, I believe.
Okay.
I also would like to add that there's a neighborhood garage sale happening in Crafton this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, May 11th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's including streets like Hawthorne, Cowerway, Linwood, Ewing, and Crafton Boulevard. And there's some other streets involved too, but just want to let y'all know that was happening this weekend.
Very good. Anything else? Okay. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Council has the option to respond or not at the end of the address. Please state your name and physical address for the record. Does anybody want to say anything? You can raise your hand. Yeah?
No.
Okay.
Where do I have to stand?
Near the phone.
Matt?
Closer.
James Mangan, 96 Sterrett Street. So where Sterrett Street meets Poplar, that's like Pittsburgh. My little section there, people tend to run the stop sign on the Pittsburgh side, and they fly up through Crafton, and then by Red Brick Poetry, there's that a stop sign there. They'll stop there, but they try to go up that road as fast as they possibly can. I have no idea why. When Phil pitched the idea to me, when I was talking to him years ago about this, he said that they would have some kind of built-in traffic abatement thing to kind of help slow or calm traffic. Nothing happened. It's just a straight road that's very, very slick and it's fast. The rental next to me has at least 4 kids in it, very small. They play out there. My kids 3, neighbor kids 2. Lots of playing happens out there, bike riding, running around, tossing balls, lots of fun things like that. I was just out there 2 nights ago, and I think at least 3 people ran it in the course of 45 minutes. They try to go up it as fast as possible. I know the speed limit there is 25 miles an hour. I know what 25 miles an hour kind of feels like. It seems like they're just trying to get up there as fast as possible. And then very often they'll just run it. It's a fairly common thing. I would say think about, and I get that a speed bump is less than ideal in terms of visual, but I would err on the term side of safety. So maybe there's something else, but something to kind of help calm that traffic, so at least people are stopping, or they're kind of forced to slow down or think about where they are. And it's about 100 yards, but for whatever reason they just do it as fast as possible. So whatever it is that you guys can do to kind of make sure that the people are aware that kids play there, that I don't want a kid being hit, and I do like the idea of kids being able to play outside and you basically have fun without the idea of cars racing past. So whatever that looks like. I would say a speed bump, why not? But, if there's another competitive thought, that's my 2 cents. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks, James.
James, can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
Is that, are they speeding up Poplar to Sterrett, or are they other way?
From Poplar up towards Seasons House.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So coming out of the city of Pittsburgh.
Out of the
into
city,
Craft.
yeah.
And
Okay.
the stop sign is in the city of
The
Pittsburgh.
stop sign is on the city side, because when I spoke about this last year, I called Pittsburgh to help trim it, and they said, do it yourself. And then I think you said, we'll do that, it's not a big deal. So I'm not sure if it's a matter of they can't see the stop sign, or they just flat out don't care that there is a stop sign. But you can get a sense of when someone's gonna run it, because they're already cooking before they even come close to it, and they just go straight on through. So,
We can put our speed monitor up there.
Can we also put that on the agenda for our infrastructure committee meets next week?
okay,
Yep.
that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Yep.
Thank you.
Taking some notes. Anybody? Greg?
This is the most disconnected I've been all day. Thank you.
Greg Wozniak, 1773 Bar Avenue. I just had a question. There's a lot of projects that the borough's into. Is there a metrics that the public can go to see what the project is, kind of where it is, what the cost is, and what the grant covers and what the grant doesn't? Something that we can go. Maybe it's there already, but something online where it's just okay. There's this project coming up. It's a year out or whatever, and this is kind of where it's at. Out to bid, not out to bid, or something like that. So,
Thanks,
if
Greg.
that's possible. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Do I stand over here like everybody else?
Yeah.
We just gotta use the,
Corey Roma, 264 West Steuben Street, Apartment D. First, thank you for appointing me to the zoning hearing board. I am very grateful and I'm excited to get to work to help the community. This is kind of like a question/concern. So on Steuben Street, I've been walking around and I've noticed that at the red lights that are at Foster Avenue and I think the one that's right behind the church, I can't remember what it's called. There seem to be red light cameras on the top of the lights, but there's no signs posted. And I notice a lot of the times cars just in the nighttime or in the evening just fly through those red lights sometimes. So I'm kind of curious, are those actually red light cameras? And if so, aren't they I think if I remember from my community college course on this matter, that red light cameras are supposed to have a posted sign saying that there's an enforcement thing there. So is that a red light camera or?
we're not even allowed to have red light cameras.
No.
No. Pennsylvania, they're not permitted.
Let's let him finish.
That was just it. I was just curious because I'm not complaining about the red light cameras. I think they are a tremendous thing to prevent people from doing stupid stuff. But to me, it's kind of I was just wondering because it doesn't really seem to be deterring people, especially in the nighttime. People will just fly through those like it's nothing. So I was just kind of curious, but thank you for the answer. I appreciate it.
So I think the answer is that they are motion cameras. So if there's no traffic, it'll flip the light.
Okay.
But it's not snapping photos and everything else because you have to have signs.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
I think they can only do that in Philadelphia right now.
From what I remember, Title 75 allows first-class cities to do it.
That's the only first-class city in PA.
Yeah,
There's
that
only
makes
one.
sense.
That doesn't mean it's the best.
To address Greg's thing, we actually have a tracking sheet, we call it the placemat. It's about this big, that tracks all the projects. And let's talk about it on Tuesday to see what we're able to put out there, because it tracks everything from the grant to the cost of the project, the actual cost paid, everything across the board, including the bond fund and what's taken out of the bond fund. So it's micromanaged down to that dollar and where each project is, and all of our future projects or potential projects are on there. So let's talk about that also on Thursday. Or
Well, and
Tuesday.
of course, all of that is also shared with the budget updates each year. All
Yes.
of that is shared publicly when the budget is posted, but it's not necessarily updated on
No.
publicly updated on a monthly basis.
far those. Anybody else? Okay, nobody on Zoom? Meeting's adjourned. It is 8:07.